Hey y'all, welcome to a best of edition of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. These best of editions of the show feature amazing guests and episodes of the podcast you may have missed when they first aired. If you are new to the show, these are those can't miss episodes we really want you to listen to. Or maybe you're a long-time listener. We want to bring these episodes back around for you to enjoy again. Our goal is to bring you our best content every week so you have everything that you need to build a better future for your family. So wherever you are listening today, enjoy this week's best of edition of the Flip Lifestyle Podcast.
Hey y'all, on today's podcast, we celebrate Jeff's online business success.
Welcome to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. Join us each week as we teach you how to flip your lifestyle upside down by selling stuff online. Are you ready for something different? All right, let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast. Great to be back with you again this week, especially for this week because we have another Flip Your Life community member success story on today's show. We're going to bring on someone who has been on the show before and celebrate all the great things that have happened in their online business since that episode and help them get to the next level as well.
This is my favorite kind of show because I just love talking to people and finding out what they've been up to in their business and just people we've talked to before. It's just so cool to see where they've been and where they're going. And
today's guest is Jeff Twitty. Jeff, welcome to the show, man.
How you guys doing today?
Or Coach Twitty, as I like to call him, because he likes to throw the football around a little bit. You know what I mean?
A little bit.
What are you doing today, Coach? Tell me about what you're doing right now when we called you and disrupted your busy afternoon.
Oh, I was laying by the pool drinking a Corona.
It's a tough life sometimes, this online business gig, you know what I mean? So tell us a little bit, Jeff, about where you're at right now in your online business. We last talked to you, I believe, in 2015, toward the end of the year. So quite a few months have passed since then. Just to catch everybody up, tell all of our listeners about your online business, what you do online, kind of where you were when we spoke back in 2015. And let us know what's happened in your online business since then.
Sure. The first time we talked, I had created my football site, which was just selling playbooks online to football coaches, and they weren't actually playbooks; it was like a full course. So I was charging $197 for the youth version and $297 for the high school version or above, and then it had like an upsell for the weight training program or whatever. So it was a decent funnel, and it was fairly consistent every month, to be honest with you. And that business got to the point where, I know you've heard of the Glacier Clinics website, but most people probably haven't. But it's a website for football coaches where they can go on and just get any information they want basically on football, watch web clinics, they have live clinics and things like that.
Sure. One
thing that it wasn't was very organized. So I went and got some other coaches together, and we created this site called iCoach, where we transferred all our other stuff over to. And basically what it is it's like a Netflix for football, but by Netflix, I mean everything's video-oriented, and it's really easy to sort through, kind of like Netflix is. But what it is it's actually courses, so it's like a university. So there's a course for a spread offense, there's a course for different defenses, special teams, all that stuff.
Right.
So instead of piecemealing things together, everything's all in the same place. And we launched that in June 1st, I believe, of this year, and that's done really well. So that was actually the reason my wife got to quit her job.
Cool. And this is more of a subscription model too, getting into that recurring revenue. Do people come in and join the membership, or they get access to the university? So it builds that recurring in, right?
Yeah, we have two options. There's a monthly option for a single coach, which is currently $37 a month. And then we have an annual staff pass where you can sign up your whole coaching staff, and that's just a one-time thing. And most of the coaches that have joined through that have been through with a purchase order. They join for a whole year.
Like the booster club fund stuff. Awesome.
Yeah, that changes every year. So
awesome. So the football stuff is all recurring now instead of having to rely on those one-off sales. You know what I mean?
Right. But here's the crazy part. My goal was to not work at all while we were in Virginia Beach. And I get these two sales right in a row. Somebody had found and purchased my actual course from the original time on my spread course that I had that I was charging a one-time payment for, and they just got in for life.
Right.
Well, 2 people purchased it, like literally right back to back within 5 minutes of each other. And I'm like, what in the world? How did that happen? Like, I thought like everything had already been transferred over and whatever. Well, they had done a Google search, and there's a keyword term that apparently that course is ranking for, because I didn't shut it down. It's still live.
Right.
But these two people on the same day, 5 minutes apart, found it and purchased it. And I had to email the coaches and be like, well, how did you find this thing? And they told me what they had searched for, so I thought that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool when you're leaving breadcrumbs behind and you just accidentally make money while at the beach. I mean, right. That's always a good feeling.
That's true. And then as far as the other site goes, my Geometry Coach website, it's done phenomenal. You know, I missed back to school last year because I didn't launch the site until like probably a week or so into September.
Sure, I remember that.
It did really well. Between both sites right now, it's, like I said, my wife's quit her job, and I like to teach and coach. So, I mean, I could if I wanted to. Right. So they both provided us with that option. But, you know, I'm a head football coach, so I like being in the building with the kids and whatnot. So I keep doing it. But, yeah, both sites are doing really well. I mean, I can't thank you guys enough. Obviously, it's just like there's no way I could ever repay you guys for what you've done for me and my family. But it's been an awesome ride.
I love what you said there because, you know, we've talked a lot about this lately. You know, everybody online sells quit your 9-to-5. You know, that's great. But like what you really are doing online is creating more control over your life. Like you guys have the choices now. Does your wife stay home? Do you stay home? Do you go coach football? It all comes down to what you want to do. And do you have the power in your life to do that without having to worry? Look, one of the great things you said to me one time was you posted in, I can't remember if it was on Facebook or in the forums, but you were like, one of the coolest things is, you know, besides the normal parenting, I don't have to say no to my kids. And I've totally relate to that. Like I can remember at times thinking, man, how am I going to provide certain things for my kids? But now it's like, you know, other than teaching them that they don't get anything they want, we can get those things and do those things and provide those opportunities for our kids that we would not have been able to do with online business. So it's just awesome to hear how much control you have over your life.
Right. I mean, when we were both teachers, there's no way, like if she would have said, okay, let's take the kids a couple hours before it was time to go, there's no way I could have pulled that off like before all of this when we were just both teachers. It just wouldn't have been possible. And then to go on a trip like that and, you know, be able to go to dinner wherever we want and, you know, literally not have to worry about a thing the whole time, because if the kids say, you know, let's do this and we agree that it's a good idea, we can just go do it. And that's like the freedom of it. Like, it's not that you don't have to teach anymore, you don't have to coach anymore, you don't have to work your 9-to-5 anymore. It's that you have the freedom to do what you want to do. Like, I enjoy coaching football, I enjoy being around kids, so that's what I want to do. Could I sit at home and be playing on my computer all day and, you know, growing my online business faster? Maybe, but I love being around football and the kids, so that's what I choose to do. And that's the best part of it, is the freedom to make those decisions.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, one size doesn't fit all. There are people who do this online business thing in so many different ways. And just because we do it one way doesn't mean that it's right for you. And because you do it that way doesn't mean that it's right for somebody else. So I think it's really cool that you guys have it set up that way. I remember the last time that we talked to you that you just really wanted to bring your wife home, and now you've been able to do that. So I'm really happy for you guys.
We just came back from a conference recently, and, you know, it kind of, there's not an eloquent way to put this. It's everyone's kind of just trying to brag about where they're going. Like, you go to these conferences and you walk up to people and you're like, hey, well, what are you doing online? Well, I'm trying to get to 1.6 million this year. Or I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to be the richest person alive. And, you know, I'm trying to work 19 hours like Gary Vee, blah, 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 you know, all this stuff. And we're like, yeah, we're just trying to play with our kids in the backyard more. So like and when you take that out of the equation, you know, this rat race, people are really just online a lot of times trading one rat race for another. And when you get that clarity and perspective, hey, I have predictable income. I know I'm going to get paid for the next 3 to 6 months because I can see it. I know my numbers. I know that I have enough money to do the things I want to do. It just empowers you to actually open your eyes and live life and not get caught up in all this nonsense that everybody else gets caught up in.
Absolutely. And I mean, the best part without question is, you know, you get to give your kids the life that I didn't have growing up. I know for sure I can give them, you know, a lifestyle that they, you know, couldn't even imagine when I was little.
For sure. Let me ask you a couple of questions just about the journey over the last little bit and kind of that movement from my goal is to do this, like bring your wife home or have the choice to stay home if you want to, or have the choice to go to football. What do you think was the biggest challenge that you maybe have overcome in the last 6 months to a year in your online business? And how did we help you with that?
This question's easy. It was not trying to do everything myself. 100%. I thought I had to learn. I didn't think I had to. I'm a football coach, so I'm like really, I guess, controlling when it comes to this stuff. Like I wanted to learn how to literally every single little detail of my online business. But the cool part about that is through the process, I learned that not only did I not have to, I could hire VAs and, my friends if I wanted to work for me, provide extra income for them too. That's kind of cool. But what I learned through that process was that I get to decide what I want to do.
Nice.
So like if the marketing piece is what I love doing the most, or, the creating content piece is what I like doing the most, then I do it. And I pay somebody else to do all the other stuff that I don't want to do. So once I figured out that part of the process, like that just completely changed the game for me.
And it's almost too like when we do stuff like that, you need benchmarks. Like we learned that ahead of you because we learned it from somebody else. And then we were able to use that ripple effect to say, nah, man, we did the same thing you did. You need to just let some of this go. You're plateauing because of it. So like, it's cool when you get around other entrepreneurs, you're like, oh, I have permission to do that. They did it. So why can't I do it? And you get in that situation where you're like not trying to do everything because you saw, it's like when you see someone else doing it, it gives you permission to kind of let it go, Right.
And I hired, like within the past 2-3 months, I've hired 2 VAs that are creating all the content on the geometry sites now. I created everything to begin with, but they're doing all the answer documents, making things look prettier and adding new projects and things like that to it. So now I'm to the point where, because I have a VA that does that for me, like if somebody in our Geometry Coach forum says, hey, have you ever thought about doing this? Or, this would be a cool idea or whatever, I just make it happen. And it's there, within a couple days. It's awesome.
And it's probably, and like we always say, if someone can do it 90% as good as we could, that's 110% better than us doing it ourselves because they're doing it and I'm doing something else. And you just have this exponential growth instead of pulling ourselves up the hill on our knuckles.
Right. And then aside from VAs, like I also have hired one of my assistant football coaches who, he's young, he's eager, he wants to be a head coach someday. So like I get to pay him to do what he actually loves to do anyway. So he's like creating content for iCoach, and researching and interviewing coaches and doing whatever needs to be done to grow this thing. He's getting to learn the game of football, which is what he wants to do for the rest of his life, is coach football. And he's making money to do it. And you and I both come from the same roads. GAs don't get paid last time I checked. You know what I mean?
No,
so like,
they do not.
He's getting that education in football, and he's getting paid to do it. So it's, it's awesome to be able to do those things for your friends and things like that.
Yeah, we've had several relationships with our friends, which can be sort of a gray area, but overall it's worked out really well. We've been able to help them out. They're able to help us out with some content creation, and it just really is a nice relationship if you can find that sweet spot with working with somebody else. We have a lot of listeners out there who are probably thinking, oh, I can't do this. This person is just doing something extraordinary, or, maybe you're an outlier of some kind. And I think that that's just a lot of negative talk that people tell themselves. What do you think is, just some good advice that you would give to those people out there who are working hard? Maybe they're not seeing the kind of results that they would want to see. For instance, if you could go back and tell yourself before you started, what would you say to yourself or to these people who are working hard and not seeing much progress yet?
Sure. First, we kind of already talked about this a little bit. It's definitely, don't do all the work yourself. Reinvest. Hire VAs to do those things that you don't want to do. And the other thing that kind of goes along with that is I really wish I would have documented everything that I did from the beginning. I wish I would have. I didn't have ScreenFlow or Camtasia in the beginning to be able to record myself doing things for the first time and whatever, but I really wish that I would have done those things, even if I wrote it down on paper, so that I could go back and look through those things and go, I really didn't like doing this. You know what I mean? I really loved doing this. And it would have shortened the process to get to the point where I would have hired my first VA so that I wouldn't have been doing all those things that I didn't need to even learn to begin with.
And you would have had the training ready. You would have already had the instructions written down.
Right. And I really wish I would have done it. So, I mean, for a new person starting out, it would be a huge advice to be record everything, whether it be on paper or screen capture or just even a voice memo on your iPhone. Record it, how to do it, or what your thoughts are on it, so that when it comes to decision time to actually hire your first VA to do some of these things for you, you can go, this is what I want them to do because I don't want to do that part of it. And then the other thing that obviously probably the golden egg right now is Facebook ads. My advice would be learn everything and anything you can about Facebook ads, because that can really change your business really fast if you get good at it.
Yeah, that's what we've been harping on for a while, really, both those things. You know, we've really learned that every time we hire someone, our business grows. It just happens because you get 40 hours a week back, or in addition to what you're already spending. So you're going to be more productive. You're going to be able to do things. And also, too, you know, we just told someone on the podcast the other day, they're like, well, why don't you guys focus on organic and all this content creation and all that? And I'm like, why would I try to get 100,000 followers when I can just pay to target ads at someone else's tomorrow? Like, it doesn't make sense to not buy ads, because when people come to us and they're like, oh, I just can't get any traffic, we're like, buy traffic. That's what the whole internet is set up now to do, is to go out on Google, go out on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. You pick. They all have an ad platform to get eyeballs on your brand fast, which will allow more organic growth on the back end of that.
Yeah, and I've been actually doing really well on Pinterest with Geometry Coach. There's a company called Board Booster that, you know, it's kind of like a Buffer or a Meet Edgar, but it's specifically designed for Pinterest.
Yeah.
And as opposed to buying ads, like I tried the buying the ad thing too, but I found that I could actually do better if I just you know, reached out to different educational boards, group boards, and then, you know, scheduled everything on Board Booster. So that's been working out really well too for me.
How has recurring revenue as a mindset, how has that kind of shifted the way you look at things, like doing the monthly membership for these teacher websites, creating the iCoach platform where people can come in and create that subscription plan? Like, how did that part of, you know, just the whole, you know, Flip Your Life philosophy of building stable, growing, predictable, recurring revenue, how has that changed your outlook on online business, and like just maybe the stress around your online business for your finances?
It smooths everything out. To be honest with you, it makes your customers and your clients happier too, because like I'm probably one of the very few people in your community who went from having a $200 to $300 course to putting it into a community all within the last year or so, and to see success at both ends of it at a pretty big level. So, like, instead of making $10,000 in July for back to school,
right,
you know, and then making nothing 2 months later, like everything's, you know what I mean? Like, there's no stress of the launch and all that stuff. Everything is just constantly running. So it's like, it's a smooth process where you know exactly what you're going to make every month, and the number doesn't go down. It only goes up if your product's good. I'm not going to lie. I was extremely nervous when I shut down my spread course for football.
Oh, I've been there, man. Yep.
You know, I sold 10, 20 of those a month. I mean, it was doing really, really well. And I was taking that and putting it into a membership site where, you know, I was worried that I was going to take a dip. But what I found is because all of my, you know, 200-300 coaches that had purchased my spread course all transferred over
for sure
to iCoach immediately, because they knew the product was so good. They're like, well, what's the next thing going to look like? You know what I mean?
Yep.
This is the crazy part. This was the point that I was getting to, is I haven't had one coach cancel yet. Not
That's
one.
Awesome.
So it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, couple months in, for sure.
I don't even have any churn to measure yet. So it's like, it's just crazy, and it's just like been mind-blowing to me.
And that's what's great about 6 months in. You'll like, there will be a little bit of churn, but if it's that high now, that's a really good sign that you're going to be, what we always look for is get it over 90. You know, if you lose 10, all you got to do is go find 11 and you grow. You know what I'm saying? From a customer standpoint. And that's awesome that you're getting that much traction.
Well, I mean, and the bottom line is, you asked for tips for new people. Don't put out junk. You know what I mean? Like, make sure that your product it's phenomenal. Like, it's something people are going to want and want more of, which is what I try to do with everything that I put out, which is, I think that greatly reduces your churn, obviously, as well. But like you guys are in Forbes and all this other stuff, it's because your stuff is good. You know what I mean? You stick around. I don't know how long I've been a member. It's been a long time. The, you know, Flip Your Life community. It's been a long time, but I don't even think about it. And I would never in a million years think about canceling, because everything that I know has came from that. So even if I was never even logging into your community anymore, I would stay a member just because what you guys have done for my life.
Oh man, that's awesome that you said. I appreciate that. We did not pay Jeff to say that. I promise.
No, never.
No, we did not.
But it's like, the better your product is, of course people are going to stay longer. So it's fun. I don't look at any of this as like a job. Like
exactly.
My wife, like she'll laugh at me. I'm like a little kid playing a video game. But no, I enjoy what I do for a living, which you can't put a dollar sign on that.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the way that we feel about what we do. I mean, it's just so awesome every single day. And we have bad days, but I mean, compared to, working for somebody else or doing something different, we just love what we do. So
a bad day in your back living room or on your computer is not as bad as a bad day at work ever. You know what I mean? Yeah. Jocelyn, how did you feel? Like he was talking about being like terrified when he switched over, the products to the thing. Tell them a little bit about when we switched Elementary Librarian and our other sites over from those single products to this, what we viewed as a lower monthly price, just from an income. Like, how did you feel when we were doing that?
It was definitely a little scary. I mean, we had some really big successes with several products, and just knowing what that type of income was in, I guess it was 2014, and then going to the recurring model in 2015, we don't even really offer these higher priced products anymore. I mean, it was a big difference, but the good thing is that we stayed pretty steady, which sounds kind of bad from one year to the next. I mean, you definitely want to grow, but this year should be a lot better because we have that baseline of recurring revenue, and now we're going to have new sales on top of that. So I'm really excited about this summer with the education products for sure. So, I mean, I can definitely relate to what you're saying.
You don't start from zero is the best thing about memberships. Like we did switch, and there were, like Jocelyn said, if we had X $1,000 during this period, then we had about the same the second year. So most people would be like, "Oh, you didn't grow." That's what all those guys bragging about their 1.6 million are doing. But
that's recurring.
Exactly. You're like, I don't understand, guys. We didn't launch that. It's still there. Most of those people are still paying, and when the new people come in, the next crop of people, it's just going to add on top of it tenfold. Okay.
All right, Jeff. Well, it has been awesome talking to you today, hearing about your success story and all the things that you have been up to online. We are super proud of you and really happy to have you as a part of our Flip Your Life community.
Thank you. And thank you for everything you guys have done for us. And, congratulations. I know it hasn't happened yet, but your 100th episode or your 100th podcast with Pat Flynn, I'm excited to hear that one. So, because that's how I found you guys to begin with, was listening to Pat Flynn's podcast on my tractor in the backyard.
We're bringing it around full circle. And for those of you listening to this in the future, that episode has already aired. We're recording this one a little bit before the 100th episode comes out, so you can find that at fliplifestyle.com/podcast100. Well, Jeff, man, we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much. Keep doing great things. Keep impacting those lives on the football field, and thank you for being on the show today.
Thanks, guys.
Super call today with one of our Flip Your Life community members. We would love for you to be a member of our community as well. If you would like to join our Flip Your Life community, head over to fliplifestyle.com/flipyourlife, and we can show you how to join today.
It's now time to move into our Can't Miss Moments segment. These are moments that we were able to experience recently that we might have missed if we were still working at a normal 9-to-5 job.
This week's Can't Miss Moment is taking our kids up to the Lexington Opera House to see the production of the Little Mermaid Ballet. So this is a classy we need classy Can't Miss Moments. We know CCCMs, the classy Can't Miss Moments. So we got all dressed up this weekend and took the kids up to this amazing production. It was a packed house, and it was in one of those like old school theaters, and we had like our own little private box. Like it was just one of those little things that kind of ovals outside of the wall up in the like a window that people sit in.
Most people probably know what a box is, but when you live in the
South, you got to explain these things to people. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand that fancy stuff. So we had our own little private box, and I wore my tie, and Isaac wore his little tie, and Anna Jo got on this pretty little dress, and it was kind of, was it purple? I'm colorblind, folks.
No, it's like green.
It's green. I thought it was purple. I can't see colors, whatever. But it was just a very cool experience. I had never been to anything like that before, and I think the kids had an absolute blast. And Jocelyn was really pumped up about taking us all to this event.
Well, Isaac will tell you he didn't like it because it was for girls, but he really secretly did. And it was a good time. We just enjoyed just watching the ballet. I had never been to like an actual ballet aside from like Anna's little girl recital type stuff. So it was really cool to see these people. This is what they spend their life doing. And they were really talented, and the costumes were just beautiful, and it was just something just fun to do that none of us had ever experienced before.
And it was something different. I think that's what we learn more and more as we get farther into this flipped lifestyle and down the online business path, is that it just opens up so many doors and opens up so many opportunities just when you have the resources to be able to go do these things. And when you get to expose your kids to these, this whole other world, this whole other culture, all of this neat stuff that they probably would never see if you were just grinding it out, 50 hours a week, staying at home on the weekends. And we're just really blessed and fortunate to be able to give our kids that kind of opportunity and let them see things like this. Before we go today, guys, I want to share a Bible verse with you. Jocelyn and I draw a lot of our inspiration and motivation from the Bible, and we want to pass that along. Today's Bible verse is one of my favorites, and it comes from Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 4. And the Bible says, "He who observes the wind and waits for all conditions to be favorable will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap." Now, what this Bible verse is saying, guys, it's a very fancy way to say it ain't got to be perfect. You can't wait around in your online business for all conditions to be favorable. You can't wait for the right opportunity for the clouds and the wind to blow by the perfect chance. You just have to take action. So go out there and sow the seeds and get ready to reap the harvest. That's all the time we have for this week. As always, guys, thanks for listening to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. And until next time, get out there, take action, do whatever it takes to flip your life. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this best of edition of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. We would love to help you take your next steps toward your goals. We have a free online business quick start course over at our website at flippedlifestyle.com. This course will help you set big goals and make them happen, find and validate your ideas today, and help you identify and find your perfect customers. Our online business quick start guide is a free resource, and you can get it right now over at flippedlifestyle.com. That's FLIPPED lifestyle.com. Head there right now and download your free resource today.